In this video, I'll be comparing the Xotic BB Preamp with the Joyo Zip Amp. Now, contrary to popular belief, these two pedals are not actually based on the Marshall Bluesbreaker Overdrive circuit. They are actually much more closely related to the Tube Screamer circuit that's voiced to sound more like the Marshall Bluesbreaker amp from way back in the day. So let's plug these guys in and listen to how they stack up. All right, so when the switcher is on the green side, we are going into the BB Preamp, and when the switcher is on the red side here, we are going into the Joyo Zip Amp. Now, what I'm gonna do first is show you a clean tone. Okay, so if you're looking at how both pedals are set up and you're wondering why they do kind of look different, essentially what I've done is I've set the BB Preamp to with everything to noon, all the controls, and then I backed off the volume so that it's just giving me a small volume bump, just pushing the amp a little bit. And then what I've done is I've actually just matched the controls mostly by ear on the Zip Amp. It's got a little bit less low end, so we need to bump up the low end. It's got a little bit more high end, so we brought to bring down the high end. A little less drive naturally, so we bring up the drive, and same with volume, we had to bring that up just to kind of get them to sound as close as possible to each other. Obviously, the controls themselves are very, very similar. We've got lows and highs, just like we've got bass and treble, and then we've got volume and drive, we've got volume and gain. They are all doing essentially the same thing. The only big difference is with the Zip Amp here is we have this toggle that allows us to switch between comp and normal. And there's actually a setting in between, which is essentially just having no compression in the circuit whatsoever. But what I'm gonna do now is just kind of go through a few of the controls. If we listen to the drive range on the Joyo, bring it back here. Next up, we'll look at the bass and treble controls. So with the BB, we've got Now, as far as volume goes, the BB Preamp is pretty straightforward. There's a ton of volume on tap should you need it. Right? I probably don't need to go all the way through the range. But for the Joyo, we obviously have a similar range. Right? We'll get as loud as we need to get, but we're going to need to move this around to compensate for the compression effect here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch it over to normal. So you can hear already how it really changes the voice of the pedal when it becomes more uncompressed like that. This less compression makes it feel like there is a lot less drive as well. And then if I go completely uncompressed, once again, we get a pretty big volume bump. So I'm gonna bring the volume down. And again, we've got even less gain. It also sounds like the EQ has kind of changed a little bit as well. So if we crank our gain up, all right, so a totally different gain characteristic there, right? So let's see. It really sounds and feels actually like what it sounds like when you take a predominantly clean amplifier and you just crank the volume up. It has a lot of sound and feel like that, which is really interesting. All right, it's time to reveal which pedal was which from the intro of this video. So pedal A was the Joyo Zip Amp and pedal B was the Xotic BB Preamp. Did you get it right? And were you surprised by the results? Be sure to let me know in the comments below. If you're looking for something to watch next, you can check out this video right over here. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.